Anyone have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart, if you could talk about surrender, because we're asking to surrender, yet it's our choice to surrender. I'm kind of like, who am I asking? Like, I asked to surrender. So could you just speak a little bit about like the letting go, that true surrender?
Well, you say, please, help me to surrender. So you're asking a higher power to give you the strength to let go. You're asking God, Spirit, whatever you want to call higher creative energy, to give you the strength inside to let go of all the obstructions and the things that are keeping you from, truly in a very pure and beautiful way, connecting with higher energy in the universe. It's that kind of power that we need. They even say in the Bible, ask and you'll receive. It's part of the evolution of our consciousness to be able to ask for help. You know, for the energy, for the strength, for the higher power to come into us, to give us the ability to let go. You know how it's very difficult to let go. People hold on to everything. I mean, even, alcoholics hang on to what's killing them, try to get booze out of the hands of an alcoholic, you know. I mean, people just hold on to things that give life, they give things that give death, their ideas of right and wrong, that little prison they live in that they think is reality, that alternative reality that they live in, that they project out onto the world and they pretend that it's reality. People hold on to everything. And mostly it's ego, because the ego needs something to give it purpose. And without that purpose, the ego just, when the ego doesn't need conceptualization to give it purpose, I would say 3/4 of the blocks inside a person will disappear. But the strength to do that, where do you get the energy, the Shakti? It's what these classes are for, to build you and to build everyone else here, to have the strength to truly surrender in depth, to let go in depth. As I always said, you can only fit so much water in a glass. And if you're full of yourself, there's no room for higher energy. So there's this slow, gradual transformation of being full of ourself into being full of spirit, higher energy, that transformation that leads to a state of enlightenment. So it's really important to ask. And it's really important to never assume anything. Because, as soon as you assume and as soon as you take things for granted, it's the end of growth. But asking shows humility. It shows, something inside us that says, yes, I need to grow. I need to be with God. I need to have a spiritual life. And then it's that energy that transforms the blocks, that enables us to surrender, to let go of all the things that are obstructions in ourselves, that create all that tension inside people. And it's an incredible freedom, I mean, look, I've said it 1,000 times, the only real freedom in this life, it's not racial freedom, it's not economic freedom, political freedom. I mean, it's all bullshit, I mean, yeah, it's a problem in the world. And I must mean, it's just a stupid problem that people, have so much trouble in this life because of the color of their skin. It's just ridiculous, But the real problem is not that. The real, if somebody really builds an inner strength that connects them with spirit, and they have a chakra system that's that strong and balanced inside, it's not going to matter if they're black or white or yellow or pink or orange. They get free of that. They're connected to what is infinite in the universe. And it frees them of all of it. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, for God's sake, you could belong to the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, if something inside you truly needs to grow and truly needs to get past all of that structure and all that belief system inside, that just simply makes people crazy. If something needs to get past that, I mean, I don't know if I've told this story, but it's a really wonderful story. And when I was teaching in New York, I had one student, I had a number of students, but one in particular who used to come to a lot of meditations, who was a very religious, Orthodox Jewish man. And he would come all the time, this guy. And he would come with the yarmulke and the tallis and all the trappings and all the stuff that they wear. And he would have very profound classes, this man. And after about 3 or 4 months of him coming, he came to me and he said, "Stuart, I just want you to know, since I was a young person, I truly wanted to find the Kabbalah. I wanted to be initiated into the Kabbalah, which is the Jewish mystical studies, mystical part of their religion." And he said, "You're the first person who's ever come into my life who initiated me into the Kabbalah." He said, no rabbi, no. He said, "But Stuart, I have to leave the meditation." So I said to him, "Why?" He said, "Stuart, if my community found out that I was coming here and doing this, they would kick myself, my wife, and my 3 children out of the community." I mean, it broke my heart. It broke my heart that supposedly religious people could be that tight that they wouldn't give one of their community the room to find their life, to connect with the Kabbalah. And this is what I'm talking about. And yet at the same time, it was this man's test. If he could have gone deep enough inside and connected with God, he would have been able to continue coming to the classes. Mm-hmm. It really would have. And that whole thing would have changed, Something would have happened that would have gave him the room to do this. I don't know. I mean, that's all conjecture. I don't know. But when he told me that, it really broke my heart because he was becoming a very, very good student, this guy. And I never spoke to him until that day. Just came, told me this. I mean, I've had people I had one in Texas and Denton. I used to have a student, back in the 70s, if you were gay, I mean, it was a serious problem living in Denton, Texas. You had to live in the closet. I mean, the people were rabidly crazy, anti-homophobic, homophobic and all that stuff back then. And I had this woman who used to study with me, and she came up to me one day. I was sitting on the porch of the house. She said to me, "Stuart," she said, "I don't think I can study with you anymore." So I said, "Well, what's the problem?" She said, "Well, I'm gay." So I looked at her and I just started to smile. And I said, I forgot her name. I said, "I don't care if you sleep with sheep. This is not my problem." I said, "My problem is that if you come, I have to give you nurturing energy, spirit. I'm not here to judge you. I don't give a damn who you sleep with, who you vote for, what you eat. I'm totally uninterested. All I'm interested in is that you have a need to have a spiritual life." Well, this woman just broke down in tears because her whole life she had spent living in a closet and was always being rejected, always being rejected because she was gay. I mean, life is, there's still a lot of that stuff, that homophobic stuff in the world, which is so crazy. But people are crazy. What are you going to do? The only alternative is if you got to get strong enough to get free of that. You're a human being. You're not gay or straight or white or black or green or pink or trans or whatever these, you're a human being connected to spirit with an inner life that is strong enough to where you can go above all that stuff and be free of all that stuff. And that is what surrender is all about. Going to that depth in yourself where you can truly have that kind of freedom. And it's not getting free of religion and race, and it's getting free of yourself, not allowing yourself to become a slave to that. I know I would have huge arguments from people in certain communities about this, but I don't give a shit, frankly. I'm not interested, because most of it is just projecting to the objective world what they think is right. And I'm really tired of that. I'm tired of that because I don't know what the hell is right. I really don't. I know I have to grow every day, and I have to find a place in my heart for a lot of people. And I don't care what they are, straight, gay, black, white, yellow. It's total what religion they believe. It's totally uninteresting to me. I have to find a place because I understand that each and every human being is working against themselves and they have to grow. And my job is to provide the fuel, the energy to help them get past all that stuff. I remember I was in Rudy's store one day and he came up to me and he said, Stuart, I've just taken a student who I truly believe can be some kind of a revolutionary that will be responsible for hurting many people. So I said to him, I said, well, why did you do that? He said, Stuart, I cannot determine the ways of God in this world. If somebody comes to me and they want they want to grow, they want to study with me, I'm not here to judge them. I'm here to nurture them and maybe hopefully help them get past all that stuff. Boy, was that an education for me. I was a young punk there, I mean, when I heard that, I said, wow, that's extraordinary. Because I had never heard that before from anybody. I cannot determine the ways of God in this world. And all of it is the ways of God, teaching us endlessly that you want to get free, you got to get free of yourself. Otherwise, you will live in a prison the rest of your life.
Stuart,
Yes.
how do you work with trusting yourself when you're also kind of tend to be your own limitation?
Look, you got to, I honestly, it's the same answer. You just have to evolve and grow to a place inside where you develop this deep trust in yourself. It just comes. You're no longer intimidated by other people, by life, all the different things that go on in the world. And you're no longer intimidated by your own limitations. You accept them and you use them as footing to build a stronger life. It just comes. I mean, look, I mean, when I was in my teens and certainly early 20s, I was a deeply insecure person, deeply insecure, and very full of anxiety and fear and, and I never thought it would go away. And, through Rudy and through this meditation, one day not completely, it's always there a little bit, but 98% of it went away. But in time, it's like the bouquet of a bottle of wine, it's got to mature to where it finally tastes what it's supposed, and we're the same way. We have to marinate ourselves in spiritual energy so that eventually, the meat gets softer, whatever it is gets softer, and we become this kind of, the fear goes away, this trust in oneself manifests. And that trust always is possible when a person connects with God. When the chakra system develops and there's that profound connection with higher energy, that trust just comes. It's something you shouldn't worry about. Just do your inner work and it'll come. I mean, I know I had to do a lot of things. I had to do a lot of crazy things when I was younger, take on, responsibilities that were, ridiculous. When I used to think of, I couldn't even think about them. They were so big, the responsibilities I took on myself. But it enabled me to build the strength in myself, that when I accomplished these things, it was like unbelievable, And I needed those things as steps on a ladder to develop that kind of inner strength. And I knew it wasn't going to come to me by hiding out somewhere. It came to me because I was willing to take on myself enormous responsibility. And then I had the responsibility for many people combined with it, And I had the one person I had to trust was me, because I had taken that all on my shoulders and I was willing to work to make it happen. I mean, it's, our work is not about hiding out. It's about building a strong inner life. And having patience because it comes. And I used to hear Rudy talk about exactly the same, how messed up and crazy he was when he was younger. I mean, even Nityananda told him, you're too crazy to go to New Zealand. Go home and do your life, He went home and built, first of all, this enormous person, this extraordinary being, And secondly, the ability to give life to so many people. I've told you the story a million times. When Rudy came to Texas and told me I'm not working hard enough, and I've been working 19 hours a day with ashrams all over Texas and, prison programs and teaching in university. I mean, it was unbelievable, Well, I said, well, what should I do, Rudy? He said, buy that building. I said, Rudy, I got $600 in the bank. What, he said, anyone could do with money. The incredible thing was this was like a small shopping center. And a month later, I bought the building. I mean, I just went inside. I got the energy to do it, And then I had that responsibility on my shoulders. So I had to make it work, That energy is in every single human being to do creative things in life. And that by that building became my mantra for a while, I said, Stuart, you did this, you can do just about anything, what you've come out of, And the only tragedy was that Rudy, we built this extraordinary restaurant we had there, and Rudy never got to see it. It was really a shame, Belly dancing club in Denton, Texas. I mean, that in itself is so outrageous that God had to make it really work. To run a belly dancing club in Denton, Texas. It was extraordinary. The people lined up around the corner to get in, I mean, life is ridiculous. And, you never know what's sent to you to make your life successful, So it's letting go. That's the key. And building that inner life, is the key to trusting yourself, the key to surrendering in depth, the key to living and building that strong inner life that gives you that capacity to let go, to let go. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And then wonderful Bob Sink was there running that restaurant. God bless him, That in itself would make a person a saint, having to do that job. I mean it. Running that restaurant. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, I just have one announcement. I won't be able to have class on Monday. I have to do something on Monday. I have to have this procedure done. There'll be a class Sunday, and then after Sunday, the next one will be on Wednesday. Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you, bless you all, and I hope to see you all on Sunday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.